This is going to be just a very, very quick response to Guide of the Blind's newest video. Basically, John, you ask us to show you a contradiction in the Bible that basically proves that God doesn't exist. And none of us are claiming that any contradiction in the Bible proves anything about God not existing. In fact, there's no way to even prove that God doesn't exist, let alone find any contradictions that prove he doesn't exist. So what you're asking is basically for us to prove a negative. But in the same way that we can't prove that God doesn't exist, you can't prove that there's not a teapot floating in Saturn's orbit, or that there's not a flying spaghetti monster, or all the other cliches. So that's the problem with asking for proof that there's no God. Now, the other problem is with contradictions in the Bible, and this is something that comes up in every time any contradictions are mentioned. Explaining contradictions in the Bible is definitely possible and has been done. Every contradiction that has been found in the Bible has had some kind of explanation given to it that apparently makes it harmonious. The problem is not that the contradictions can't be explained. The problem is whether the explanation is actually likely. In the same way Christians always can find explanations to explain contradictions in the Bible, Muslims do the same with their holy book, and every religion does the same. Contradictions are always explainable to some degree, however unlikely that explanation is. Let me illustrate an example. Say there was a race that I was entering, and I appeared to lose and come in last place in this race when it was finished. However, I wanted to prove that I had actually come in first. Now, there's a way I could probably make a feasible explanation as to why I came in last, something to do with time displacement or a mass hallucination or something like this. However, the problem is that it's unlikely. Even though I can come up with a completely sound explanation as to why I came in first, it's still completely unlikely and thus should be disregarded. So it's not a matter of whether something can be explained, but rather whether the explanation is really the best explanation. After all, anyone can interpret the Bible any way they want to fit their own agenda. Look at the various sects of Christianity who all believe very different things. Look at the different radicals. Look at the Westboro Baptist Church and their policy towards women and gays, and compare that to the people who say, or the gay Christians who say, well, no, the Bible actually doesn't explicitly say that homosexuality is a sin. So this is why I really dislike getting into contradiction debates, because there's always an explanation, and the answers actually lies much deeper than most people actually take it to. So are there contradictions in the Bible? It depends on who you talk to. Does any non-believer or anyone of a different religion go to hell? Depends on who you talk to. Does the Bible say slavery is okay? Depends on who you talk to. That's the problem with the Bible. It obviously is not very clear in its purpose or what it's trying to convey at all, if many people are misunderstanding it. So to conclude, is it possible to explain every contradiction in the Bible and harmonize the entire thing? Yes, it's completely possible. That's not the problem. The problem is how likely these explanations are. Any contradiction can be explained in any circumstance by some form of logic or tap dancing around, but in the end, there is never a clear answer. And this is why these contradiction debates never work out.